SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of SBC iGaming Daily Podcast, the marketing edition. iGaming Daily is presented by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. 56% of the EGR Power 50 personalized player experience with Optimove. And we have yet another special offer for you. Optimove is offering new clients a free first month when you buy Optimove. For further information and claim the free month, please go to optimove.com/SBC. I'm Ivana Flynn, and today I have fantastic Julia and Conrad with me to discuss the next hot topic. Conrad, Julia, please kindly introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Logan. I am the CEO of Zangoose Digital. We are specialized in helping companies in the top competitive verticals such as iGaming. I've been around the SEO industry for more than 20 years, so here I am.
Thank you for joining us. And Conrad.
Thank you. Conrad, Global SEO Director representing FairPlay Sports Media. I've been working in iGaming now for around 7 years, in SEO for 15 years. And it's a pleasure to join you guys on this podcast to discuss such a timely news event.
I know, what a news. So if you don't know yet, we are going to be discussing Google and the Antitrust lawsuit that Google lost. This is going for a while, and we knew that Google is in a trouble because of their exclusive deals with other companies such as Apple, which give them status of monopoly. Google is making too much money. Other people that didn't get cut off the pie started to look into it and were not happy. And there we go. Google is being sued. Through the lawsuit, we learn lots and lots and lots of things that help us as SEOs optimize better, or at least to confirm that, yeah, we know what we're doing. So what have we learned so far? We have learned that traffic is important. Links are important. What else would you add? What have we learned through those leaks, forced or voluntary? Anything that you would like to add to my few points?
Well, it's not the first. Technically, this is probably the biggest and most important lawsuit against Google. But we know that there have been several European lawsuits against Google, and they had to pay fines as a result. So I suppose they have lost them as well, we could say. But why this is important is here is this official declaration that, yes, Google is a monopoly, which is something that we've known for quite a while, but a random person who is not a search professional probably doesn't spend much time thinking about that. Although, yes, Google it is a verb now, but still.
Absolutely. Conrad, how do you feel about this, and what have you learned through the lawsuit so far?
So, yeah, the lawsuit there's quite a literature, right? It's between 250, 300 pages. That's quite a lot. And actually, it's an interesting read. I just skimmed through on some parts, but there's a lot of statistics there, a lot of acronyms. So we have more acronyms now to learn. There's some good stuff, of course, that we knew that came out from this antitrust case, like nav boost, like click data, traffic, how it impacts the algorithm. But as well, there's a lot of information like around the business of Google. So, for instance, all these, how the traffic flows through the devices, through the different like Apple agreements. So, yeah, it's quite a packed document with a lot of statistics.
Absolutely. Have you been surprised when you learned that they lost? I was not. I was like, seriously, we had that coming. I mean, if you have 96% share of search globally, obviously different share in different markets, but globally, let's say this 96%, you are monopoly. It's not a surprise. So when I heard the news, I was not shocked. Everybody was like, oh my goodness, they lost. This is news. And what was your reaction? Was it like, or you were like, expected?
It was kind of expected. It was expected, I would say.
Yeah, it is kind of how they operated for a number of years. It's kind of sometimes becomes status quo. So, of course, I'm not a legal expert, so kind of certain stuff that are outlined in the ruling maybe I didn't even think they were kind of infringing certain X or causing monopoly. So yeah, we'll see what comes out because it's still not clear what will happen from this ruling.
True, but it's happening. Google is monopoly. We all knew it. And I absolutely love the Google's reaction to it. I'm going to read it to you. This decision recognizes that Google offers the best search engine, but concludes that we should not be allowed to make it this easy available. I mean, we are the best, we know it, and everybody else knows it. Google just, when I read that statement, and it's quite long, I'm not going to read all of it, it was like licking their wounds and making sure that everybody knows that they know they are the best. What does this mean? I mean, okay, they are going to be maybe a little bit shaken. Maybe they will lose some deals. Maybe they will not be allowed to have their exclusive deals with Apple and so on and so forth. But what does this mean for an SEO or marketing professional? What do you think is going to be the impact of the decision?
I've been saying for a while that we should stop ignoring other options, and primarily Bing. Bing has been making quite a lot of progress recently. And if we look at the market share graphs, its share of the market has been growing objectively. So I just hope that this will give them some chance to grab a bigger share of market. As for Google being the best, I don't think Google is the best.
Oh, that statement by Google, from Google, by Google. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Of course, they need to keep the face in all of the situations. So, of course, they will say something like that. I don't suppose they have an option to say something other than that. But basically, if we look at this objectively, I've looked at some stats today. The rate of approval for Bing has been steadily between 70 and 80% from the users. So people are actually pretty happy with Bing's quality as well. And basically, if that's another, I wouldn't say nail in the coffin of Google because we're far from that, but we need an alternative. We do need an alternative with a proper market share. Even if it's like 20%, that would of course make a difference. That would already do something to the current status quo. And basically for those who have been in the industry for quite a while, Google has only been a monopoly for the last, 15, 16, 18 years, perhaps. So before that, we had a situation where there were multiple search engines. Was it better? Yeah, I think it was, because we as users have been given a choice. The search engines have been given the incentive to improve and grow and innovate. And I think with Google being a monopoly, they became kind of insensitive to all this potential competition and the need to innovate and the need to actually keep the user's interest in mind. So I think basically, if something good comes out of it, it would be a bigger market share for other search engines and primarily Bing.
I agree. And actually, Julia, the Department of Justice started all of this because it actually thinks this monopoly is actually stifling innovation. So this now, it's going to do a part that maybe other tech companies, that this removing this monopoly improves basically search quality across in the US, basically. It does recognize, though, and this mentioned in the ruling, that Google has a superior quality. And I know the statement from Google actually now is kind of a PR spin. They're going to try to appeal it. So this might take a number of years. Yeah, so we'll see how
but
now...
But the process has started, at least.
Exactly. And they have deemed that they are a monopoly. Actually, and they were deemed a monopoly in online web search and as well as search text ads. And that's actually mentioned. And they were actually as well using their scale to be a better search engine. They were kind of, their algorithms were learning because of this volume to be better. So by having this monopoly, they were kind of ruling out any good competitors.
Yes, but were they better? I mean, we know that there was a case of the yellow pages or whatever you call it, where they had to lower their search quality to make sure people come back and search and in the end go through the paid results. And I feel it till today. Every time I search, I need to do follow-up searches to make sure that I actually get the answer I want, because by now, when you search for anything, you get 5 paid ads above that usually have nothing to do with what you're searching for. And then the search underneath is based on extreme amount of links. Many times the result is very spammy. I'm not saying always. We have floods of parasite SEO. No matter how much they try to clean it up, they are not succeeding as much as they would like to. So many times the search is not the quality it should be. And I'm sort of personally excited there's going to be something else. And as well for us as SEOs and any other marketer out there, especially in casino, when we really, really rely on SEO traffic, it's going to be good for us not to rely on Google every time they sneeze and make a new update that your website can drop or completely disappear because Google dislike you. And sometimes it's not even any good reason for it or any explanation. Like, okay, your website dropped because of March update, but you don't know which part of a March update was. You don't get follow-up and they just wash out all business. And we've seen it after March update especially, or helpful content update. People started to lose traffic and there was no guidance how to make it better. There is still no guidance how to make it better. So I think for us, it's exciting times coming. Am I being too optimistic?
Well, I would only, I like correcting this term always, not parasite SEO, but sponsored media.
Call it as you may, piggyback, partnership, whatever. It's the same result.
Yeah. But basically, what that means is we are dealing with a situation where there may be a viable alternative, which is just great. And to be honest, that viable alternative has never really gone away. It's just that, because of Google's overwhelming market share, people have stopped kind of paying attention to alternatives. And, well, I can just refer everyone to my 2018 Brightness SEO talk, or 2019 was it? Brightness SEO talk about why we should stop ignoring Bing. See, I've been calling it back then. But essentially, back in 2016, I had a client whose site has been banned in Google, and they were targeting the US market, and we were doing just fine, targeting just Bing. And that was a gambling site, actually.
Alternatives are going to be good. It's always good to have.
Alternatives are always good.
I mean, there is a saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is exactly it. That's what we're doing for years. Exactly.
And besides, don't forget that SEO actually means search engine optimization, not just Google optimization. And I would say it's long past time for all the SEO tools to start working with the data from the other sources, not just Google. Stop looking at just Google. And basically, I would love to see what's happening in Bing. I would love to see when the updates are coming out in Bing, even if they are not quite as destructive as those in Google. But still, I kind of care, as I should, and every SEO should. So, yeah.
But there is a business idea. Let's make a tool for Bing. All the updates, all the rankings, all the actual search volume, I see it coming.
It used to be the case. All the tools used to include back then MSN and Yahoo and Google. Then they just dropped the others. And I've sent you that link to my tweet that I tweeted a while ago about Bruce Clay's search engine relationship charts. Remember those?
Yes.
And basically, we had to deal with a bunch of search engines with very complex relationships. This one gets directory results from here. This one gets paid results from here. This one gets organic results from here. And it's all intermixed, crossing. And it was quite complicated. That's why those charts existed, because it was impossible to really fathom what's happening without visualizing it in some way. And it used to change all the time. So it was great. It made life interesting. It gave us some alternatives.
I think we'll have interesting life again, not only Bing, but we know that Search GPT is coming. I mean, what do we feel about Search GPT? When I heard of it first time in May, I was like, oh, wow, that's going to be interesting. That's going to give at least a scare to Google. Google obviously does not like ChatGPT because that made a huge mess.
Because they are not so good with their AI.
Oh, Google and AI does not go together. They really slept on their loins for now. So,
but the thing is, Search GPT is not really a search engine. It's more like a summary engine.
For now, but it's an opening ground of growing something new, and hopefully they have ambition to serve us something new. Conrad, what do you think?
It's so all of this, of course, will provide maybe easier entry for new players. So if we're gonna remove the power of default, people can change, like having Search GPT as their default search engine, or maybe even users can opt easily to change to search in Google, but maybe certain queries they can easily change and search on another provider, even maybe Amazon, because that's actually something in the ruling that was mentioned where search default doesn't include, for instance, Amazon search, for instance, search engine. So in some cases, Search GPT will probably answer results in a more direct way where you don't need to read. But we need, of course, to see the product that will be finalized. In reality, what this monopoly shows is, and the power of default is, for us in the ruling that's mentioned that Bing has the majority of the market share, about 80% on Edge. So maybe by having more this education, there will be more, different people will use different search engines. But on top of that, as you're mentioning, Julia, it will become as well a bit more expensive for operations. So the tools as well need to monitor different search engines. As an SEO, we need to monitor multiple search engines. That means, more expensive credits on keyword rankings and so on. I don't think this is going to change in the short term. I think this is going to go probably in a peer stage back and forth. And we'll see what will happen with these challenge contracts now that Google has on the table.
I think even if it takes time, of course, it will take time. Nothing happens overnight. But now is the time to really start to think of it, that Google might be dethroned. I don't think they're going to lose all their market share, but people will simply start to look into new things. And I think Search GPT will be a threat because ChatGPT is already big and people know about it and a lot of people love it. And they don't go to Google anymore. They go to ChatGPT and just check there. So maybe Search GPT is the scarecrow for Google.
I just wanted to add, when we think of search, we probably should stop thinking just of search engines. Search is more than just search engines, and there could be different interfaces. There could be different approaches. So Search GPT doesn't have to be a search engine, but it could still be search. And then we as SEOs would still have to take that into our workflow and optimize for that as well and keep that in mind. So instead of being SEO as in search engine optimization, the process is becoming all kinds of search optimization.
But we already do that. We already do ASO and we're already optimizing for apps, which is obviously growing. And apps are, for the new generation, you need to have it. And you're learning how to optimize for Reddit and Quora, and you're learning how to work with other things like Telegraph that is growing. So I think we are slowly getting there, but the mindset will have to change. And there's a whole generation that is Googling and is not searching.
Yeah. And as well, sometimes there's kind of that friction, right, for a user to change the default or to change the interface to switch from Google to Bing. So the adoption as well is on Google's side, right? Because people sometimes don't like to change. But as mentioned before, this is a kind of a good ruling because it is going to do a path for innovation. And this kind of by default entry points are all going to be challenged. So probably we're going to see more innovation and more maybe, as Julia's mentioning, easier access for information. Maybe, do I need to search on Google to buy something? Maybe I can go directly to Amazon if it's my favorite shopping place and marketplace. So I think it's going to disrupt a lot, and this will as well provide a ripple effect, maybe even with other tech companies. Of course, we're referring just in the US because this is a US ruling. I think Google will make a lot more extra effort now that they don't change how they operate in the EU.
Okay, we are almost out of time. So last closing thoughts, what we should really think of when thinking of Google and search and of this antitrust lawsuit and what to come. Is our work going to change? Is our job going to change? Is our job going to disappear? Is Google dying? Closing thoughts.
Our work is always changing, so nothing new here. Google, I don't think they are exactly dying just yet. I don't think they're gonna be so fast to die. There definitely are changes coming up. There definitely will be new things to adjust to. There definitely will be new approaches that we will need to adopt. But basically, it's just part of the process. And I think it's quite positive.
Yeah. So I think Google is still going to be a strong player in the market, and potentially I might see them for now still have the strongest product. Of course, there is a lot of spam, there is a lot of information. But yeah, we need to keep in mind, we need to diversify traffic. Actually, that helps in general. But we need to start, keeping open mind how this will change. And there will be, I think, different entry points for users to search in the future.
A disruption is always good for growth and is always good for new opportunities. So I really hope that it will be good for us. I think if anything, SEOs will be more in demand because there will be more to optimize. So if you are looking into getting in SEO, it's still a good niche to get into, right? It is still a career to consider. Very good. Thank you so much. I mean, obviously, we don't have all the answers for the antitrust lawsuit, and we don't have all the answers of what's going to happen in the future. We don't have a crystal ball, but we'll definitely follow up when we have more information. For now, thank you, both of you, for joining me and sharing your thoughts.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily Podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.